I've been doing genealogy for a very long time, since I was a teenager, and this year I decided that I'm going to work on writing the stories and capturing them in the form of a book for my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents, and maybe even my great-great-grandparents, but we're going to get to 30 profiles, excluding myself, and I'm going to use artificial intelligence, and I'm going to capture in a book, and I'd like to present to you how I go about doing that, and I hope you follow along. So I call it My 30, and I hope you'll join me. I decided I'm going to start with my second great-grandparents because I likely have less information about them, and it's an opportunity for me to put those profiles together fairly quickly, and it'll feel like a win, and maybe that'll keep the momentum going. And then when I get to more difficult people in my family, which is not that they're difficult, but because I have more information about them and it might take me longer to get a profile done, then I'll feel still empowered, and I'll continue. So this is my second great-grandfather. He's John Shannon. He's from my paternal side of the family. I'm going to go over here to Life Story. So I'm on Ancestry. And as you gather all of the facts that you have for your ancestor, it's building a story. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and highlight all the information that I have and copy and paste it, and I'm going to put it over into NotebookLM. I like NotebookLM because it doesn't hallucinate. Sometimes when you use products such as, at least I know in the case of ChatGPT, that sometimes it does hallucinate, and sometimes I have problems because it gets a little ornery and it won't do what I ask it, even though I've asked it multiple times. So we're going to go over and paste it into NotebookLM. So I've opened a new notebook. You can see up in the left hand corner it says it's untitled. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on copy text, and then I'm going to paste that text that I have from my Ancestry profile, and I'm going to insert it, and then NotebookLM is creating my notebook, and it's called The Life and Lineage of John Shannon. So that's pretty simple, and it's just the one document. That's all I'm going to do. From there, I'm going to go over and I'm going to click the infographic. Infographics are, I really like what it does with infographics, and sometimes, if you don't like one, you can make it create another one. So I'm going to create an infographic. I'm going to create a mind map because I like mind maps. I'm also going to create an audio overview and a video overview, and I'm just going to auto select it and generate it and see what comes up. It's kind of like take a chance, see what it is. I mean, I'm sure if I got really into it and told it to do a lot of things, it could help me even more. But for now, we're just going to go with just basics. This is a free version of NotebookLM. I don't pay anything. And so we're going to come back when this is finished and see what we get. So we're back to look at the records that NotebookLM created for John Shannon's life. So I have 2 of the mind mapping records. I'm not sure why. I might have been click happy. Anyways, let's have a look at the mind mapping for that. So it gives John Shannon's name, his birth and death date, and then it shows his personal life. So we can expand on that. It gives all those details again. Then we have his immediate family, so his father, mother, and spouse. Then all of his children are listed, all of his siblings are listed, and then the residences that he had. So I really like mind mapping, so that's one of the documents. Next up, we're going to click back and we'll look at the infographic. And it looks pretty cool. It's it shows, the information about his birth and that he was a Presbyterian, but he was baptized in Prescott. It talks about the 9 siblings and his marriage to Caroline, and there are 11 children in 28 years of marriage and when he passed away. And then it has a little chart here with the key milestones. So that's something that you could put in your document that you're creating for the life of John Shannon. I think that would be kind of a nice enhancement for his life. So let's go back and see what else we have. So we also have, this is the audio overview. And so let's have a listen. I'm not going to listen to the entire thing, but we'll listen to a few minutes.
Modern life often feels overwhelmingly chaotic to us. Looking at John Shannon's timeline offers this stark reminder of the sheer density of life and death that our ancestors navigated.
Yeah, density is a good word for it.
Right. I mean, they were managing complex, multi-layered human ecosystems without any of the modern conveniences or social safety nets or medical infrastructure we just take for granted today.
So let's jump right into the beginning of that density. We are in Ontario, Canada, August 10th, 1829. John Shannon is born. His father, William, is 31, and his mother, Jane Elizabeth Henry, is 28. It seems like a pretty standard start to a lineage.
Sure.
But within 6 months, we had a detail in the source material that genuinely made me pause. On February 18th, 1830, baby John is baptized in the Presbyterian Church in Prescott, Ontario. But the author explicitly notes that his parents were actually Baptists.
Yeah.
Why are they standing in a Presbyterian church? Well, because there were simply no Baptist churches in the township. It is like spiritual pragmatism.
That's a great way to put it.
I was thinking about it like when your phone is at 1%, and you are a diehard Apple user, but the only thing plugged into the wall at the coffee shop is an Android charger.
You just use the competitor's charger.
Exactly. Use the competitor's charger because getting the juice is the absolute priority.
So you see, this is the audio overview or like a podcast. So if you wanted to, you could put a QR code or something to take you to this recording. I use Forever, so then I could put this recording in my Forever account and a QR code would take me to that recording. So let's look at the final report that we created at this time, and it's the video overview, and we can have a little listen at that.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're uncovering the absolutely fascinating, deeply resilient life of a 19th century settler. We're tracking an incredible journey that kicks off all the way back in 1829 and actually stretches forward to a remarkably heartfelt tribute in 2009. We often look at historical dates as just, numbers on a page. But today, we're going to breathe life into those numbers. We're exploring the trials, a literally massive family tree, the heartbreaking losses, and the enduring legacy of a man named John Shannon. Part 1. Echoes of a Legacy, and a stone placed a century later. So picture this. It's October 2009. 3 modern men, Ronald, Dwight, and Melville Shannon, take the time and effort to place a memorial stone in Reed Cemetery. They were honoring a great uncle who had passed away more than a full century prior to that very moment. Now think about that for a second. How many of us know the exact resting place of an ancestor from the early 1900s, let alone organize a physical tribute to them? This level of dedication is incredibly rare, and honestly, it speaks volumes. Which naturally begs the question, who exactly was John Shannon? What kind of life did this man live? And what kind of foundational roots did he plant to inspire such a lasting, multi-generational tribute from his descendants, 100 years after his final breath? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at the world he was born into. Part 2.
So again, this is a kind of a cool recording, so I could put that in my Forever account and I could make a QR code again to put it in my book. What's interesting about this is one of the people that they were talking about that did the memorial was Ron Shannon, who is my 3 times cousin, I believe, and a good friend of mine. We've done a lot of genealogy together, so that's kind of cool that they picked up on that point, and because it was, Ron that got me more interested in the Shannons, and in fact helped me because I didn't have to do nearly the research, because I know that Ron is a good researcher because has been doing it for a very long time, and he was also the president of the Leeds and Grenville Genealogy Society and a member of the Historical Society. So he's very well versed in the history of that time period and for that area. So these are all good things that you can use in your family history, however you might decide to use it. Now, there's other things that you can get. You can get a slide deck, you can get reports, flashcards, quizzes, and data tables. And I may look at those in this report, but this is the beginning of what I'm going to put together for John Shannon. I did decide to go back and do this report. I had never looked at the report, so I can show you what you will see, and you can see here I've created one already. But if you click on reports, it says that I can create my own and craft your report your way by specifying structure, style, and tone. You can give a brief document overview. You can make a study guide or a blog post. It also suggests biographical narrative, genealogical case study, or a family history analysis, or a primary source guide. So those are kind of interesting. I might do, maybe we'll click on this one and we'll get that one started. And how about this one as well? And we'll see how they turn out. But let me look at this first one that I created, which was let me see. I think it was a briefing document. So let's look at that. And so you see it gives you an executive summary. It gives you some information about the early life and the religious context and all of the details of the siblings and then the marriage. And so kind of the information that we've already heard or seen in some of the podcasts and the video report. But this kind of thing could be used to easily put into the report that you wanted to create for your family history. Now, what I really like about NotebookLM is the fact that it does not hallucinate. If you search and check it out, it's like 99.9% not going to hallucinate. And whereas although I like ChatGPT because I like how it writes, at least in my voice, I like how it writes, but NotebookLM, it doesn't hallucinate, and ChatGPT does hallucinate sometimes, and sometimes it gets downright ornery when I'm trying to get it to do something and it just won't. So, this might be a way of writing something. It looks a little bit dry, so I'm not sure. You'd have to, of course, make some changes to make it sound more appealing. Let's look at the other ones if we can. There's the case study. So it gives the introduction, mapping the Victorian life cycle. So it goes a little bit into that. The first generation, expanding the Shannon roots. So what's interesting is John Shannon was actually the first Canadian-born Shannon. So that's an interesting detail about him. And so it goes into some more detail. So that might be useful information and maybe could be the basis for, a write-up that you're going to write. Sometimes you just need some ideas for words, and then you can expand on them and make them sound more like your own voice. And then let's look at the last one, which is the genealogical case study, and it gives the executive summary and foundation and kinship. So much the same facts, because that's of course what it's dealing with. But you could decide to take a blend of some of this information to use in your report about your ancestor. So something to think about. So now I'm taking some of the information that I've gathered and I'm putting it in a program that I use called Artisan 6. And this is a book I call I Will Remember You, and it's the Thompson family. So it's all of the ancestors that I have that go on my paternal line. I have a similar book for my mother's side of the family. So this is one of the pages that I've created for John, and I've put, how he relates to me and his birth, marriage, and death information. I've got some information that I've received from my 3 times cousin, Ron Shannon. And then if we go to the next page, you can see I've used some of those infographics that I have created with NotebookLM. This is another one that I created. I thought it was, I liked the look of it. I thought I'd share it on my book because I don't have any photographs of John Shannon because, I'm not sure that anybody does. So this is a way of having something that's visual. Artisan 6 is a digital scrapbooking program that's available through Forever. I'm a Forever ambassador. So I've been using Artisan for a very long time. When you purchase it, it's, as I said, a subscription, and you get a certain amount of free art that comes with the subscription. You also can buy additional digital art. There are thousands and thousands of art kits that you can purchase to create the look of the book that you like. Now, I have chosen to create something that's more vintage because that's kind of how I roll. Anyways, so let's look at some more pages. The next page is this, again, infographic another infographic that I created at NotebookLM, and I also took a little screen grab from the video that it created. I will put a link in the description below for Artisan 6 and how you can have a look at and see whether it might be something that you might be interested in. The link will be attached to me, so if you do purchase it, then I will be your ambassador and I can help you with your project. So let's look at my final page in my scrapbook, and I've just put some information about John's marriage to Caroline. I know I have the newspaper article, so I will drop it into this photo frame. I don't know that I'll use this other photo frame. I can delete it if I want. I've also listed all of their 11 children. So you can see how, maybe using NotebookLM can help you create some pages for that ancestor that you don't really have a lot of photographs of, and maybe you want to have just a different visual way of sharing that person. You could also take some of the reports, I think, and then maybe take it and put it in another AI program and get the jumping off point for writing something in your own voice. So I could take that report that I had and put it in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to, create a smaller report that's more how I would share it. And then I could go from there and edit it the way I saw fit. So I hope you found this helpful. And if you are thinking that maybe you need to do your 30, or like I am, my #30 ancestors that I'm going to work on to create a book, because I think that a lot of us spend a lot of time capturing the information, and then we don't maybe do a good job of creating a book. And it's a lot of work to create a book, and sometimes you just don't even know where to begin. So hope you found this helpful, and happy hunting.